All right, we are live. Hi everyone, I'm really excited to interview Zaki Johari, CEO of Urbandrone. I came across Zaki's work during my explorations of architects who are in doing NFT, and it's hardly to find any. And Zaki's work has been so inspiring. So I'm very excited to host you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Zaki, can you share some highlights of your professional journey till date?
Yeah, I started after my graduation in 2007 from the architecture school of Nantes in France. So from then I started creative coding because my feeling was like I was not really prepared to work in the professional field of architecture. So I started learning another, job. And I found like a lot of um, bridges between the architecture and the virtual world, the 3D real-time applications, and interfacing mostly the digital world and the real world, because that's my job today. It's in this interface. How can we build something immersive and also build something that reacts to data coming from, from outside, basically. So I did a big project like projection mapping for the Kings of Thailand. I did also some content for Intel, and the team was like the main team of this content was computing. So I used a lot Houdini for this. And I did also VR experiences. And this project was talking about I don't remember. Don't worry. And of course, I did also a lot of performances for festivals, and for that purpose, I learned how to build a real-time application, 3D application that react to audio. So for many years, we did scenographies and audio reactive stuff for visuals for festivals. And it started like this. And now I mostly do interactive experiences for corporate brands and for institutions like festivals or whatever.
I
That's
see.
my
That's quite interesting, and I always wonder how a project cycle in this kind of projects look like. Do the client approach you that we have a particular theme and particular art idea, or how does it go? Can you walk us through?
most of the time you have a production team and they need this development resource. They need interactivity. So basically, they hire you because they need interactivity. And after that, you have, of course, the brief from the client. And we work together and we write something all together. And we try to, I try to give them my knowledge around this problems of interactivity, and of course the programmation and the project will change. It always changes because they have an idea, but at the end of the day, this idea will evolve to fit the constraints of the context and also to because we are experimenting during the process. So we're discarding everything that is not working, and we keep it's an experimental process every time, because we are dealing with humans, you know, so we cannot, like, we don't have the complete control on everything. We know that if we go into maybe a certain area, we will have these behaviors, but we mostly don't know what will happen. You know, when we open the gate, we don't know. So we have intuitions, and after that, with experience, and I have like 15 years now of experience, so I can say, okay, this thing will work for sure, but this thing will not work. But most of the time, we are wrong.
I see.
We accept.
So like you have like so many like multidisciplinary projects and ideas. So I'm curious to know what has been the most challenging aspect in this journey.
Technically or more conceptually? Technically,
Both. Yeah.
both. Ah, okay. So one of my biggest project was for Art Basel Miami, and the brief was, okay, the artist, it was a Chinese artist, want to project on the sphere, but the projection must be from the inside of the sphere. So it was involving a lot of skills, and also doing a projection mapping on a sphere in 3 days. So it was really hard, but we achieved this challenge. But it was very, very hard to achieve this, because it's maybe one of the most challenging things to do, like in real time. So because we did it with the approach was it was not an automatic calibration. It was a semi-automatic calibration. So it was involving my work by night on site. So it was a little bit hard, but we did it. And the most challenging thing conceptually is, like, the more you learn, the more you feel like you are knowing nothing, you know, because you must, you know, things are going so fast today. So we are, the more I learn, and the more I'm lost. I, I don't have a technical background, because I'm architect, and I didn't study like mathematics and computer science. So I must work hard. You know, it's a very hard one to stay, you know, up to date.
Yeah, and especially the development in the field is going so fast, so it's becomes more challenging. So can you give us an overview about what are the different procedural algorithms one could use or available?
I will define, of course, I will define what is for me an algorithm. An algorithm for me is a recipe. Oh, so a recipe for me is something we can explain in English. You know, we can. It's just it's a sequence of steps, and we have an input. It can be an image. It can be like a musical score. It can be whatever thing we can digitize, and we apply this procedure to this set of data, and we have, at the end of the process, we have an output. This output is the result, and we can then benchmark our, you know, our algorithm, because we know what is the incoming data, and what is the what we outputting, and the result. So most of my algorithms are very simple, really, really simple, because I'm not a mathematician. I'm not like someone who is super skilled in computer science. But my aim is to produce complexity from things that are super simple, like a set of points, like maybe 5,000 pounds. How can you like output this beautiful image we see like in the bottom right? And this is the incoming data is a drawing from my son, for example.
Mhm.
It's just a drawing, but I just um, uh, from this point, I will like generate a set of velocity, and this set of velocities will I will do a simulation using these velocities and these points, and I will like output this beautiful image. But the main thing is I'm using a drawing as an input. So this is what I like, you know. It's the data we compute is really, really important. And I'm using also photographies. And sometimes I do nothing because if you see this yellow image, yes, on the left, yes, this one, it's a chemical process. It's a photography, and this thing is a bug. You know, it's I didn't do anything on this one, but I just created. So I saw it, I scan it, I'm just revealing something. There is no algorithm involving here. It's like the time. It's time and chemistry, you know. And sometimes if you see this moving image in black and white, it's just a post-processing on a video. But sometimes nature, you know, is the most beautiful thing, you know. You
Mhm.
cannot compete. You cannot compete with nature. It's always it's always beautiful, you know. So because I must say that I'm always trying to like not mimic the nature, but I am inspired by nature in all
Mhm.
my work. All my work is all about, you know, landscapes, nature, and behavior we see. And this is this is what, you know, this is my passion, you know.
Mhm. Interesting. So, like, I could imagine that one could create like there are a lot of possibilities. Let's say one starts with an image and add more complexity. So, how do you define your scope for the project and filter out the solutions which are good and fits your purpose?
Because I am always in constant search of a space. You know, it can be like a 2D image, but most of the time it's something. I have the feeling that we have like something, you know, with the qualities, like maybe the lighting, maybe the feeling of you know, something big, or the movement inside this image. Most of my images are, yeah, still images, but you can feel something, you can feel the movement inside. It's just, you know, it's like a photography of something, you know, bigger, like something, an explosion maybe, or so I'm trying, like an architect, I'm trying to build uh, a space, and sometimes I succeed, sometimes it's a big failure, you know. So, and since I'm, I have a lot of experience now in, you know, building content procedurally and in real time, the curation is for me like it's simpler now, but it was very difficult at the beginning, of course. like choosing the right image, it's really difficult, because
Yeah.
you can spend like hours in front of your recipe, because you are constantly producing images. You know, stop is the most difficult thing. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, and like these are like generative algorithms, so like there are a lot of possibilities. So which of
Of
this
course.
project you
Mm.
had a bit difficulty in saying the stop button?
Oh, on uh, on this on the one with the lines. It's done using gamma. Yeah, this one.
Hmm.
Because every output is beautiful. Most, like every output, you know, is super beautiful. But at some point, you must choose only one image. So it was really hard, and it was a lot of tweaking, because the relation between like the lines don't have the same weight. So it was really it was really difficult for me to find the right balance between all these layers. And of course, I was working in black and white, so it was not easy, like to um, give this sense of depth inside the net. So I choose this one. I don't know if it's a success, but I did my choice. You know, it's always like this. You know, you must at some point you must say, okay, it's this one and not the other. So
Yeah.
I'm always experimenting. So I'm uh, the success or the failure is not a problem for me. It's not a
Mhm.
problem. It's part of the process, and we are learning for every project. Makes me learn new things. So for me, I'm always winning at the end, you know,
Mhm.
because I'm accepting my weakness. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't know everything. And I am not in control for sure.
You see, and earlier in our discussion, you mentioned you use VVVV and Houdini
Yes.
in most of your work. So, can you break down like any one project which would be interesting to discuss?
Oh. Uh, which
I can
one?
even share you like give you access to screen sharing if that is more
No,
easy.
we can break down this one on the left with the like the just the wires. Not this one,
Uh,
under this. Yeah, this one. Because this one is really, really simple.
mhm,
So this one, the rule was super simple. It's a rule based on proximity. So if you have like a wire like approaching another wire under a certain threshold, they will merge. You see?
mhm,
And if they are like at a certain distance, they will like I will produce another net, and I will like just rely all the points will like be I will just produce new lines between the points. So it's a super simple process, but you can achieve very quickly something like very complex. And you see the structure and the dynamic you have inside this net, and the topology. If you are, you know, used to this,
mhm,
it's only triangles. You know, it's a basically it's a grid now.
mhm.
It's a distorted grid. So I love this simple recipe because there is one rule or two
Mhm.
rules. That's it. Because you of course you can go crazy using other algorithms and crazy stuff, but sometimes when you have only like just it's like having like a pen and a piece of paper. You know, it's like the minimum resources for the maximum impact.
Mhm.
So this is what I love. I can do that inside Houdini. It's super simple to do that inside Houdini, but it takes time, of
Mhm.
course, to achieve this form and this rendering. It takes a lot of time, but the principles are really really simple.
I see. So, like, if I am able to imagine it right, so you start, let's say, with a random points, and then there is a vertical z velocity where it can take shapes, and the rule is if in that vertical domain the wires are closer than merge, and if not, don't do anything, and then you have this rule of bridging this vertical with the
Lines,
triangle. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, lines, yeah.
yeah.
And you can apply this to a torus. You can apply this to every cylinder. So, and you can have also a simulation. So you input this inside the sim, and you have then your velocities and your wind, and you can add behaviors.
Mhm.
But the basic rules is okay when you cross a certain point, we fuse. That's it.
Yeah, but like one thing I like about this project, it's even if it's like it has aspect of complexity, it has aspect of curiosity and like this looks cool. So I, I'm curious to know, like, do you have any framework where you could decide whether artwork is good or bad in terms of subjectivity or objectivity?
uh, uh, I only trust my eyes. Huh? There is no. I don't think there is. Um, uh, it's always my intuition, you know. And of course, from the beginning, I know what I want to achieve. But of course, during the experiment, I may change my mind. But I tend to like stick to the recipe because it's important to start with the idea, go till the end of the process, and if it's wrong or if it's not beautiful or if it's not interesting, okay, like we go back to the first thing, it's the recipe. Maybe there is something wrong in the rule, and we try to maybe add a rule or remove a rule, and let's go back to computing and outputting and see if there is something better. But trying to tweak the image at the end of the process, okay, I can paint. It's okay. I can do
Mhm.
it. I can do it in other with other ways. So sometimes it's better to stop, go back to the rules, and ask yourself the good question because the main idea is at the beginning I don't draw anything. I just like said, okay, what is the main rule and what is the input I will use for this. And sometimes it's a basic simulation. If you see this image, like the black one, like with the particles, like the moving image, not this one, but just on the left. Yes, yes, this one. It's a basic simulation, you know. So it's beautiful, but
Mhm.
I don't know if we can say it's a procedural system because it's only a particle system. But the two shapes are the same, you know? There is one which is not moving. It's like a solid glass, and the other is the same topology, the same thing, but it's particles. So
Yeah.
it's not a test. It's an experimentation, you know. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it's something. It's procedurally, you know, produced because it's a particle system. I have like values. I have how to say that. I have access to some values. I can change the behavior of the particles, not in real time, but I can do it. But it's not based essentially on a text, you know, like I have 5 statements and I'm following the statement for this one. So
Interesting.
I'm using procedural tools, but sometimes I take my I have the freedom to, you know, not use them and just like experiment with 3D and I think sometimes it's good to, you know, stay away from mathematics for 5 minutes.
I see. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of work. And
Yeah, it's another thing.
so, coming back to your earlier point about inspiration from nature, have you found any particular curves or proportion or shapes which works well compared to other?
Which works well. That's the
Yeah,
question.
like yeah, which works better aesthetically? Yeah.
Oh, um, what I like the most is the landscapes, like the desert. You have image from satellites from the desert or rivers or like um, it's million of years of sedimentations and erosion, and they produce something which is not comparable. You know, you cannot achieve it like with mathematics. You can approach it with mathematics, but
Mhm.
it's really difficult. And this is what I like the most. And the flows are, yeah, the flows. If I if I must answer it with one word, it's the flow. The
Yeah.
flow, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The curl noise is something beautiful.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you mentioned it because many times I have seen like in the artwork we use different types of noises
Yeah.
and when like noise in generic conversation has like a negative connotation. It's very noisy. We should move. But
Uh,
noise when you get into the art, suddenly starts become opens up opportunity for pleasant and association with good feelings. So,
yeah,
I
because, yeah. Go
sorry, go
on.
ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was
Uh,
just about to ask, like, are there any particular noise or procedure which you found, like, which you use in your workflow?
oh, the layering of noises is something, it's a procedure I use like most of the time when I'm do like procedural landscapes or texturing maybe sometimes also. And but we must always layer multiple like purling noises at different scales, always. It's always the same thing, you know, when you want to achieve like something organic, you if you break down like these colors, you will see that you have like maybe five, six, four different noises at different scales. So we are using this mathematical function to produce something organic, and we have the control on it because we can tweak the parameters and create diversity. In real life, it's the DNA, you know, of and it's another story. But we can approach this by using these noises, and they are used a lot. But most of the time when I work on shapes, it's sometimes just a random, you know, it's a random noise that produce the values, you know, that drive the scale. For example, you know, we are just remapping the values, you know, between 0 and 1. And but here in this particular example, it's a SDF. It's a sign distance field. So it's a fractal. So you can see that I was planning to work on a landscape, but most of the time when we do a sign distance field, it's like super sharp, it's beautiful, the lighting is good. Here there is a bug because I am out of range on a lot of values, you know. So I did it, you know, because I like it like this grainy rendering, you know. It's like if someone is it's drawn, you know, it's a drawing, but it's digitally produced by a function. So that's the beauty of the thing, you know. If I don't say it's produced by a computer, people can maybe say, okay, it's a drawing. So that's what I like.
Yeah. So is there any artwork you feel it's simple and complex at the same time?
Casablanca. This one, this one, not this one. Yes, if you go up, yeah, this one. So the input data is an open street maps, and also the how can I say that in English? The topography. So it's then I input this set of data inside Houdini, and after that there is only one operation. It's basically an extrusion driven by an attribute. That's it. And the output is this thing, and it's a big surprise. So when you see this, you stop everything. It's the end of the piece, you know. It's finished because you have a new city, you have a new landscape, you have it's something like I was like you in front of it, like it was a big surprise for me because I was not expecting this. Because just remeshing the topography and applying a displacement, it's like the 0 degree of, you know, algorithmic. No, there's nothing. But when you see what's happening on the topology and what after there is the rendering, you know, because the rendering is really like minimal. But I really love this piece because it's talking about like the cities, and I love the cities, and the cities are my playground, you know. So I'm extracting data from cities, and I'm doing art with this data. It's like it's a game, you know. We are playing with all this data. So I love this one because I have the feeling that the big infrastructures we build because we need like we need in our everyday life have an impact on our way of life and our and in particular in the city, you see that all the sea is like blocked by this infrastructure. So all the people who are living behind don't have access, direct access to the sea because there is the the the, the,
The
the port.
partition.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So and this is something we see in most of the big cities. We always see this. There is a long avenue along the sea. Why? We don't know.
That's
So
yeah. I feel this is like along with like all the examples, I feel is the way like real human machine co-creation, where we are like good at mixing things and computer is good at like computing things faster. So even like the fractal, if I were to say imagine and draw a fractal versus like computing this fractal, it's a whole another game. So
yeah, and it's very well explained. Yes, I agree because I asked to the computer to do some repetitive tasks. So I have the idea, I have everything, but he's doing the hard work, and after that, I choose maybe one image from all this hard work, and I cannot do it without like mathematics, physics, and computing. I cannot do this by myself,
Mhm.
you know. So this is this collaborative work between my not only my machine, but the work of thousands of developers, because I am no one, you know, without the devs. I am no one. You know, I'm using VVVV. It's a super huge community. They share the knowledge and we build with this knowledge and we build upon. And if we forget that, we lose because I think science is like this, you know, we build upon and we
Mhm.
must acknowledge, you know, the people who did the work for us, you know, because I cannot code this FBM myself. I'm using the function, yes, but I'm not the developer of this function. So I must admit that I'm just using tools and I'm building tools using other tools. You know, it's like assembling a machine by using like other pieces done by
Mhm.
others. And I don't know if I am alone in this. I think I'm not alone. A lot of people are working like this. So
Yeah.
I must say that because I'm not a developer.
Mhm. And that's the real like collective intelligence you build upon the past work. Even in computer science industry, like people share code on GitHub and then you don't like develop every function from scratch. But that is one thing which we don't find in architecture. We start every building from scratch, like so
Yeah.
it's another complex problem. But in art, I could find some generative scripts, tinker about it, know how it works, and then customize it for my own exploration. So I have some base work, and sometimes what I have in my personal experience when I'm exploring through websites like processing or PIFA, there are
Mhm.
like the work from other artists inspires me a lot. Where oh, never thought about that. Then it triggers new ideas.
Yes, of course. And we learn from each other, you know. And but the most important thing is to give credits to the others. It's the most important thing. Of course, in architecture, they hide their references because they maybe they don't share it or they don't want. But when you know how they work inside the big you know the big studios, they have a workflow. There is a workflow, and they have tools. But this is in-house tools and the procedures they have, and they don't share it, of course, with everybody. But sometimes they share the knowledge during conferences, and but not all the architects, but some of them are sharing, the knowledge, and try to, you know, how to say that, like to share it for in schools also, So
Mhm.
it's interesting. But yes, every big project in architecture is a prototype. So
Yeah.
so we must build a particular tool for it.
Yes. So coming to the next section is like, what got you into NFT?
Uh, Blockchain, because you are in my collection. Cool. What got me in NFTs is the blockchain. It's the decentralization. I was looking for a way to learn about the blockchain and not just read about it and know this from very far. But I started to think at something like, okay, what is a blockchain? How can I interact with it? So, okay, there is this NFT thing, but there is some environmental problems. So the first thing was to choose the right blockchain because there is a lot
Mhm.
of blockchain. So I find out that Tezos was blockchain was something green and very efficient regarding energy. So I started on hand the 8th March, like 1 week after the starting of the platform. So it was 2 months of craziness because we've learned of I didn't sleep. Yeah, I was sleeping like 2 hours a day because we were
Uh,
like working, exchanging with all these new users and artists, and it was like a big it was a big party,
mhm.
and everything was new. There were bugs, and we were learning like as we go. And till now, I'm continuing. And I find that this is a good way, like to show off the work to a large audience and meet people like you, Mario. Because if I were if 7 months ago I started to just use another software in my office and don't communicate about my work, you know the rest of the story.
Mhm.
Like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, I was unknown, completely unknown. So
So yeah, like that's a like one really good part about NFTs, like the accessibility to the people all over the world, the development of community. Once there's a particular collectors who start liking your artwork, there's another type of relationship,
hmm,
and even the token holders are also like, can we create something out of this all tokens and develop a new purpose for it? That's amazing.
yes, and of course now people have big collections and they want to showcase them. So what is the next step? The next step is like, how can I build a new space when I where and inside showcase the art? And of course, we need architects for this because we are like designing space. Even if it's a virtual space, it's a space. So here is like the direct connection between my work because it's something virtual, it's in 3D, there is no somehow there is no context or urban context, but now we have a context. It's the metaverse. And this is it's a generic term, metaverse is a
Mhm.
generic term, but maybe we can find a way to design unique spaces for these collections, for people who want like to experience new things using these tokens and using this decentralized approach. So maybe we can help. There is a new work, there is a new field for the architect. They must, enter this field.
Yeah, and there are a lot of opportunities for sure. So what are some like platforms once, like maybe we could I could take a step back, and
Mm.
if I have a piece of artwork and if I want to mint an NFT, can you walk us through your process? Like how did you reach that endpoint?
Oh, so you go to Hiketnunk website, or you have it just where? Yeah, this one. This, yes. So you are here in my collection. If you go to,
So
then yeah, but you need a wallet. First, you need a wallet. So you need to create a wallet, not a MetaMask, because you are on Tezos blockchain. So a Temple wallet or a Kukai wallet. And you need to create this wallet. And after that, you sync your wallet and with this on this page. I don't know if you have a Kukai wallet or a
I
Temple
don't,
wallet.
yeah.
Yeah. So you need a Temple or a Kukai. There's the two main, and then you create your own page, and it's free. It's open to everybody. Everybody can access this platform. There is no curation or process of onboarding, and that's the beauty of this thing. And of course, it's cheap. So all the south of the world can use it. And this is the most important thing for me, because in our rich countries, it's okay. People can mint like on Ethereum and pay like low, high gas
I
fees.
guess.
But an artist in Brazil or an artist in Nairobi cannot pay this amount of money because it's a lot of money. And it's a huge waste of resources, energetic resources. So I don't understand why we are still using this blockchain, but it's another story and it's a big topic. And we know we know that it's very difficult to talk about this, but I think we must. I'm exclusively on a proof of stake blockchain. So I don't think the proof of work is good for NFT because we are wasting a lot of energy. Even if even if it's a clean and green energy, because half of this energy is coming from like I don't know, water or things like that, but it's a waste of resources.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I love art, but I don't want to waste resources because we can use them for something else.
Yeah, and
So
that's not sustainable too. Yeah.
it's not sustainable. Yeah, but you have this Tezos blockchain, and there is other blockchain based on POS. So you sync, and after that you mint your piece. So the gas will be like something like it's infinitesimal. It's nothing. It's near nothing, and you can start with €1 if you want. And I think everybody can start with €1 or for free, because we are onboarding a lot of people and we are sending sometimes like some pesos for people to start. And that's the beauty of this community, because they are helpful, they onboard people, they are welcoming, there is good values and respect. So I love this. It's not only about like selling things. It's not a business. We are talking about art. So I hope I'm not, naive, but I love art, and I think the most important is art. And if you succeed, then it's okay, it's cool. But first, like express yourself. You have a platform to express yourself. And of course, it's in conjunction with Twitter, because Twitter is like the big, you know, it's the social media we use the most for advertising our work and to meet people. But it's working. It's working.
I see. And like, what will be your piece of advice to, let's say, architects or young artists who don't have a following? Because it's like one of the things I observe is getting also more competitive. So you can also mint your artwork, but if no one is buying it, it's another
Yes.
challenge. So can you share some advice?
I think you must first talk about your art. Explain what you are doing. Maybe sometimes show your process. You see, and stay. Of course, we started at the beginning, so we have like we have a lot of followers. People know us. You know, it's easier for us. Okay, but if you show your process, if you explain what you are doing, if you focus on art and not on marketing, but on art, and if you are good, people will buy your art for sure. There is no reason they will not buy it. So, but there is this first 1 or 2 months where you must be on the social medias and advertise about what you are doing, who you are as an architect or artist, and show your process, engage with the people you may don't know, but engage with them, talk with them, ask their advice, because people are very helpful in this community and they are willing to help. No problem about that. I'm doing it like every day. So it's something, it's part of the core values of hand. So it's help each other. And of course, sometimes it's very difficult because people are not selling and they have like this feeling of, oh, my art is not good, or, you know, so it's, and especially when you are young and you lose confidence, you know, so you must stay strong. Don't lose confidence in your skills and your ideas, you know, and focus on art, please. But it's
That's
difficult. It's difficult to, I don't know how to say that. It's difficult when you don't sell. You try to oversell the thing, and this is a mistake because it's considered as a spam at some point, and people will not, you know, they will discard it. Or maybe if I understand how you achieve this and why you are here and who you are, and maybe some insight on your history and what you are doing, I will go and check your work and try to understand. And of course, I will buy it because I understand and maybe I like it, so I will buy it.
I see. And like, that's so true. Like when I joined few of the Discord community, I start getting messages either from people or some bots that check out my new sale or something like that. So what are some, let's say, Twitter handles or Discord channels which would be useful if someone is interested in this area?
Twitter handles?
Yeah, like which people are.
The one I use every time is Hiketnunk 2000 because it's the bot of the platform. But I tend to use a lot less, you know, handles, and because the Twitter algorithm is sometimes like super hard with us, so we tend to like not, yeah, I don't put anything sometimes, you know, but I build a thread. I build a big thread, and I'm showing the process of my work. Like it's like if you are like sitting in front of my computer, and you have like from every 5-10 minutes you have an image, because I'm building something, or I'm gathering images. I'm choosing something, you know, I'm trying to build something, but I don't explain it like in real time. But when you see all the thread, at the end of the thread, you will see the piece. So this is something different. I'm not advertising about the finished piece. I show you all the process. So come with me and let's have like this experience all together. Because this is how we work in the studio. When we are 2 or 3 people, we are all around the computers and you see the images and we can react. So people can react also on Twitter. It's different than just putting a link and the price. I never put the price. Never put the price, please.
I see. Yeah, and yeah, there's something about the process which makes people interested. Okay, yeah, and also it the process not only helps in understanding the artwork, but also it teaches other artists too if they are have like interested to test that workflow. So mine I'm just wrapping the interview, so I have some very light questions before we end. So who is your favorite artist?
Of all time, it's
Yeah,
Soulage. It's a French painter. Patrick, it's Soulage. He's painting only in black. So he's working with the light and this paint, black paint. It's my favorite. And it's coming from the, you know, it's not coming from crypto.
I see. And which city is in your travel bucket list?
Oh, uh, New Delhi. Yes, I have. I'm super anxious to go to New Delhi because it's a big city, and but you know, and New York. I've been there, but just one night, so I don't know the city at all. And Sao Paulo.
Like Richa, I think if I'm not wrong, she's in Delhi right now.
Yeah.
So you know, like I'm flying to New York next week, and there's this big conference called
Yes.
NYC NFT, and like it's going crazy. Like I'm just
Yeah,
seeing the events, and it's blowing up on Twitter. But I'm not going for that conference. I'm going for like AEC Tech. But I
Okay.
accidentally discovered it, and I'm just amazed. Like it's 5,000 speakers. They're renting up the billboards at Times Square, so it's gonna be a big move.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the art in the context of, you know, in this context outside, you know, and a lot of screens. So I'm really curious to see how this will, you know, come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, my next question is there any book which made a big impact in your life?
Dune, Frank Herbert. Dune. I was 18 years old and it totally changed my mind. So I'm a big fan. I'm reading the book like every 10 years. Like, okay. And yeah, it's science fiction. Science fiction in general changed my life.
I see.
So yeah.
And based on your entrepreneurial journey, are there any business tips you would like to share?
Wow. Don't sell something you cannot, you know, achieve in time. Don't sell it. And we always do this mistake. You know, we love challenges, and sometimes we said yes instead of saying no. We cannot, and it's a big mistake. You know, don't do this mistake, please.
I see. And how does a day in your life look like?
My
a typical day in your life? How does it
Oh,
look like?
I woke up, I drink a coffee, I go to my son's school. I, drop my son at school and I go to the office and I spend my day in front of a computer, and this is most of the time, this is my, uh, basically it's my journal. Yeah, my day is spent like this. But when I'm working on projects, I travel a lot, and we are also working on site. So we are managing teams who are building, things, and we are not just in front of the computer coding, or we are also managing teams. But I love, you know, have like this 8 or 10 hours in front of a problem and trying to solve it. I love this when I have the time, because you know the deal. When you have 2 hours in a row, you are lucky.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last question is there anything which we didn't cover in this interview and you would like to share your thoughts?
Uh, I would like just to say that it's always time to start something, new. It's always time to accept that you don't understand and you can learn from someone else. It's always the time. It's, I'm 47 years old, and I will maybe try to start learning a new, coding language, or a new thing, because if you stop learning, you are dead. That's it. So it's always time to start learning something new. That's it. It's just my statement,
Yeah, that's so inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks a lot for your time for this interview. It was a great, insightful conversation. And thanks everyone for watching and listening.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice rest of
Bye.
your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.